Glad to have you join us on today's edition of the program from the National Assembly. I'm Lami Ali. Senate has adopted a resolution urging the federal government to come up with a comprehensive action plan to tackle flooding in Nigeria. Now, this is equal to two resolutions raised at plenary of Tuesday, 8th of October 2024. This and other considerations are what we have for you on the program today. Do stay tuned.
Mr. President, I aware with deepest sadness that no fewer than 1,000 homes, 25 schools, 20 worship centers, and over 7,000 people were affected and rendered homeless following the heavy downpour of Friday, 4th October 2024, which lasted for several hours, displaced thousands, and caused significant damage across multiple communities in the ancient city of Ondo, in Ondo Central Senatorial District of Ondo State. Further aware that the flood affected Itanla, Oka, Odojomu, Oku.
Because these terrorists are well armed with highly sophisticated weapons. And I can attest to that, Mr. President, because they move freely without anybody, harassing them. Our security agents, one of them was even killed. Mr. President, I want your attention. The people over there are disturbing the debate. Mr. President, I want your attention. The people over there are disturbing the debate.
Yeah, proceed. Continue. I'm with you.
Mr. President, this is a very serious matter because it touches on national security. And that's why I want your attention and indeed the attention of Nigerians. Mr. President, if you recall that banditry started in Zamfara State, and about 9 years ago, nobody thought that it would spread to neighboring states. But we didn't take immediate measures to arrest the situation. And gradually, it spread to neighboring states of Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and even beyond, even Niger State. So this Lakara movement is a terrorist movement. They came from Mali. They control the whole of northern Mali. And they made that part of the country ungovernable. Recently, the government of Mali, with the assistance of a foreign country, was able to dislodge quite a number of them, and they started spreading to other parts of West Africa, including Nigeria. Even though, as far back as 4 years ago, some of them moved to Sokoto, and I think during the reign of Governor Aminu Waziri, now Senator, he contacted the then president, and armed military men were sent, and quite a number of them were killed. So, Mr. President, the time to act is now if we want to control the spread of this terrorist. Mr. President, we have been discussing about security in this Senate. I want us to recall what happened in the 8th Senate and the 9th Senate. We had discussed extensively on how we can tame the tide of banditry and terrorism. We made recommendations, 5 recommendations, and we asked the executive arm of government to implement those resolutions. Mr. President, it is still relevant for us to insist that those resolutions should be implemented. And if we do so, quite honestly, it will reduce the incidence of banditry and insurgency in this country. In fact, we can reduce it to the barest minimum. Mr. President, lastly, I associate myself to all the prayers contained in the motion heavily moved by Senator Yahya Abdullahi. And let me end by commending the security agents who immediately sent in reinforcement, and that made it possible to send away the terrorists and also recover the rescued cows. And that has brought relative peace to the area. And I also commend the government of Kebbi State by sending relief materials to the affected area. The governor was there yesterday to commiserate with the people. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Maidoke, is he around? Huh? Distinguished Senator Tamboa, yes.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the privilege. I am Amin Waziri Tambuwal. I represent Sokoto South Senatorial District of Sokoto State. Mr. President, I rise to lend my voice in support of this motion as moved and seconded by Senator Abdullahi and Adamu Mohamed Alero. Indeed, as said by Senator Mohamed Adamu Alero, when I was on the saddle as governor of Sokoto State, to the glory of God Almighty, we had an encouraging of this group, possibly, and I think I may be correct, for the first time in Sokoto State in 2018. And we had to mobilize in collaboration with the federal government to dislodge them and disperse most of them. It was a very, very well carried out operation by the security personnel. I was therefore surprised, Mr. President, when I read in the press some security officers or officials saying that this was the first time that we had such an incursion of this bandit of this terrorist group in Nigeria. That is not correct. And Mr. President, I support all the prayers of this motion. We need to nip this in the bud. It's too serious for us to allow to take it lightly, because these people are well armed with sophisticated weapons, and I believe they even have some international connections. Therefore, there is a need for the government of Nigeria to take this matter very, very seriously. Otherwise, it may snowball, as did the banditry from Zamfara into virtually every part of northwestern Nigeria and several parts of north central. So I support this motion, Mr. President, and I urge our colleagues so to do. Thank you very much.
Let me invite the Deputy Senate President to close this discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the chance to speak. I stand in solidarity with the people of Kebbi State, because this is a new dimension to the problem of insecurity we're having in that area. It is sad that while our security agencies are working very hard to deal with the current situation that we have, or the situation that was there before these people came into Kebbi State, when the security agencies are working very hard, day in, day out, sacrificing their lives to deal with the situation that was hitherto occurring in that state. Now, a new dimension has come to exacerbate the problem of insecurity that we are facing in that area, in that state. I think it's good to nip the entirety in the board. It's good to nip it in the board. This is how Boko Haram started. those guys were coming in from other parts of the world, other parts of the West African sub-region into Borno State then. And the appropriate action that was taken did not take place at the right time. And so they got emboldened, and the rest is now history. We saw all we went through, what we went through, not only the people of Borno State, but the entire country, the entire northern part of this country saw the greatest devastation that they have ever witnessed in the life of the northern part of Nigeria. Now, what we need to do is to urge our security agencies to double their effort. We know they are doing very well. They are putting their lives on the line, fighting for our safety, to safeguard us, to give us security, for us to sleep with our two eyes closed every night. And that made them to lose their lives. They are killed, in action. So we thank them. We appreciate what they are doing. This is a new challenge. It's a new challenge. We urge them to do more. They are doing very well. It's a new dimension to the entire scenario we have in the state of Kebbi. And I'm very sure the Senate and of course the Senate government that is doing very well will also do more to make sure that as we assist our security agencies to deal with this new dimension that has come to increase the problem of insecurity that we have in Kebbi State. I condole the families of those that have lost their lives, those who have lost their properties due to the actions of these foreigners who have come to invade our country. I urge the Senate to support this motion because anything that happens to any part of this country is something that affects the entire country. I say something, Mr. President.
Is there anybody that is opposed to this motion? Well, if there is nobody that is opposed to the motion, we go to the prayers. Prayer 1, urge the Nigerian military to maintain their presence and vigilance in the affected communities to hold the activities of this Lakurawa group from spreading further across the region. I would have put the question, but I think we should commend the military for their prompt action already. No, I know in the prayer, we should first commend the military for their prompt action. Then before we tell them to maintain their presence. Is there anybody that will amend this prayer 1? Senator Aleru.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mohammed Adamaleru is my name. Mr. President, I want to amend the first prayer to commend the military for sending immediate reinforcement of personnel to the area to restore peace and also to maintain presence in the area.
Senator Mangunu.
Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Manguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. I second the motion for amendment ably proposed by Senator Adam Walero. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, prayer 1 has been amended to say that commend the Nigerian military for their prompt response to these insurgents, and then also urge them to maintain their vigilance in the affected communities to hold the activities of this Lakurawa group from spreading further across the region. Those in support of prayer 1 as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, further direct the military to work with the communities and other security agencies to set up early warning mechanisms to forestall further incursions. Those in support of prayer 2 are stated here and say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, further urge the federal government of Nigeria to send an assessment team to the affected areas to estimate the extent of damages, to forestall and to determine the immediate relief materials needed to be given to the affected areas, affected families. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4, observe 1 minute silence in honor of the deceased community members who have so far been killed through the activities of this terrorist group. Those in support of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, let me thank Senator Abdullahi Yahya for bringing this motion. And this is the way it starts. And if it is not nipped in the bud, it will spread terror across many parts of this country. So I also want to use this opportunity because from the body of your motion, you pointed out that the Nigerian military moved swiftly and they were able to dislodge them from the communities that they killed people and occupied. And so while we commend the military, we want the military to continue to maintain their presence in those regions in order to forestall a further incursion into the country of this terrorist group. So, and I thank all my colleagues for their contributions. The security of lives of Nigerians is important to all of us, and security belongs to all. So thank you for bringing this, and I hope these motions that we have made today and all the resolutions so far will help to forestall the new group from gaining prominence in the country like all previous groups had done. Thank you so much. Can we now rise for 1 minute silence in honor of those so far killed? May the souls of all Nigerians who have so far been killed by these insurgents infiltrating the country from Burkina Faso and Mali, known as Lakurawa Group, rest in perfect peace.
Point of order. Point of order.
Yes, Senator Sukwa. Senator Sukwa.
Good morning, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Order 41, the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claims or else, unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Order 51, notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President, I have here before me a motion on the urgent need to investigate the slow pace of work on the Odukpani-Itu Federal Highway in Cross River State. The Senate is aware that the Odukpani-Itu Federal Highway is a major highway in Cross River State that connects Calabar, the first capital of Nigeria,
Oh, sorry.
to Itu in Akwa Ibom State.
We've not given you the permission to move the motion yet.
Yes, sir. I was just reading the highlights, Mr. President.
You may be seated. Distinguished colleagues, Senator Asuko brought to my knowledge the plight of these roads between Itu in Akwa Ibom State and Cross River State, which today thousands of people are stranded. The road has been bad for over 10 years, but it has reached a point where people are now taking the waterways from Oron to Calabar. So that's the only access road that links Cross River State with Abia State and Akwa Ibom. It is in such terrible state that it felt it should bring this to the fore to ask for remedial measures immediately to alleviate the sufferings of all Nigerians who traverse the road on a daily basis. We have already taken a matter of urgent importance, but I looked at Order 41. And if you look at Order 41.4, please refer to your Order 41.4. You'll see that Order 41.4 says that not more than one such motion may be made at the same sitting of the Nigerian Senate. The word is not shall, the word is may, which means that we can appeal to the Senate that this one more motion should be allowed in view of the fact that the order says may and not shall. So let me put the question. Is it the view of the Senate that since we can allow discretion, that it may be allowed to take this motion in spite of the fact that the distinguished Senator Abdullah Yahya had already taken the motion for the day? Those in support that it should be allowed to proceed say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Azuko, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. My sincere gratitude to the distinguished members of this hallowed chamber. Motion on the urgent need to investigate the slow pace of work on the Odukpani to Federal Highway in Cross River State. The Senate is aware that the Odukpani to Federal Highway is a major highway in Cross River State that connects Calabar, the first capital of Nigeria, to Itu in Akwa Ibom State, and is also a major route for transportation, commerce, and social integration within Cross River State and the broader southeastern and south-south regions in Nigeria. Also aware that the highway is the primary corridor for facilitation of the transportation of agricultural produce such as cocoa, oil palm, cassava, and yams from rural areas to urban markets, and also provides access to tourist attractions such as the Obudu Mountain Resort and the Abokim waterfalls. Further aware that the road also serves as an evacuation corridor for the supply of solid minerals across the south-south and southeast regions from quarries in Cross River State, as well as for the Calabar port, which is strategically important as a bulk cargo port for petroleum products being conveyed to the north-central and northeast of Nigeria. Observes that the highway has been in a state of disrepair for years, with significant portions uncompleted despite repeated promises and allocations in federal budgets. And the delay in completing the highway has caused untold hardship to commuters and residents disrupted economic activities, and increased transportation costs for agricultural produce and other goods. Believes that the completion of the Odukpani-Itu highway is not only a matter of infrastructure development, but also a moral and economic obligation to the people of Cross River State and the Niger Delta region at large. Further believes that the completion of repairs on the Odukpani-Itu highway directly supports the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu by fostering economic growth, improving connectivity, and enhancing social welfare in Cross River State and beyond through job creation, improved market access, and support for MSMEs through improved infrastructure. The Senate accordingly resolves to A, mandate the Senate Committee on Works to investigate the reasons behind the non-completion of repairs on the Odukpani-Itu highway, including assessing the utilization of funds allocated for the project over subsequent budget cycles. B, direct the committee to summon relevant agencies, including the Federal Ministry of Works, Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, and contractors involved in the project to provide detailed reports on the status of the highway and challenges being encountered. C, urge the federal government to prioritize the immediate completion of the Odukpani-Itu highway to alleviate the suffering of the people and unlock the economic potential of the region. I so move. Thank you.
Senator Ekong Samson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Ekong Samson. I speak for Akwa Ibom South. Incidentally, a co-sponsor of this motion. I move respectfully that this motion, as ably canvassed and framed, be adopted by the Senate, and if it meets the privilege of that I have on the floor, I may adumbrate a few points on this well-intended motion. Respectfully, Mr. President, my dear colleagues, the motion contemplates the hardship which passengers face daily, which commuters face on the very famous Calabar-Itu highway. The framing here is Odukpani-Itu, but it is well known as Calabar-Itu highway. This is a major corridor that serves a lot of needs for our people. It's a very old road. It's a very strategic pathway to our communities. One recalls when we proudly accompanied the Senate President to Calabar not long ago. Some of us who tried to come back faced hell on that route, and that included the minority leader of the Senate, who spends hours facing a lot of security challenges, as it were, on that road. We need to look at the condition of our highways, and between Odukpani, Uyo, down to Ikodipene, there's real cause for concern. So this motion is very well intended. By accepting the components of this motion, we will be helping a lot for our people. But let me also thank the Senate President, because today he has shown clearly that the Senate is not manacled by the strictures of rules and procedure. We are here to do justice to serve our people. And what the Senate President has said clearly about the time that we can accommodate more motions in the interest of this country is very commendable. The Senate is well on its way to serving this country, and we must not be manacled by the strictures of rules and procedure. In fact, where there's a conflict between those manacles and justice must prevail. And this, the Senate President has done clearly today. So I support this motion. It's well intended. It serves not just Akwa Ibom and Cross River, but indeed the larger landmass that surround those communities. A lot has been said about the need for us to look at the state of our roads. And Odukpani-Itu road is one persuasion that we must look at. This would be our respect for the President of the Senate, respect for Cross River and Akwa Ibom, and respect for Nigeria. This road is very, very important. And the time is now for us to look at that road, reconstruct it as it were, give it more attention so that we can continue to drive the economy of this country. I thank you.
Yes, dismissed Senator Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President and my dear colleagues. Henry Siraki Dixon, Bayelsa West. Mr. President, I rise to associate myself, as most of us will readily do, given the opportunity, to associate myself with the motion and the prayers that have been presented. The motion is straightforward, it's not complicated. The issues are also germane. The first remark I would like to make is that I'm somehow surprised that this road is still a subject matter that is still coming before the National Assembly. Because I recall that in 2007, when I was elected into the House of Reps, we had a member, then Honorable Ita Enang, who later became distinguished senator, who severally raised these issues about this Itu, Udupane Itu Road, severally. And I can see our speaker there nodding in agreement. And from 2007 up until now, it's shocking that this matter is still lingering, and this important arterial road connecting a very critical part of our people, of this country, is still the way it is. Having said that, we know that the President is executing a major road, that's the Lagos-Calabar road, which we support because it will open up our coastal communities. But while doing so, we should not abandon other important roads, not just this one. We also have the East-West Road and several others, and which is why maybe when we come to the issue of the prayers, we may make a slight amendment so that we look at other important roads in this country that needs to be attended to. Meaning that the Committee on Works, working with the Ministry of Works, need to attend to, while focusing on the big roads that the federal government is working on. No investment in infrastructure is a waste. No investment in infrastructure anywhere in the country is a waste, and all should be supported and encouraged. It is with these few remarks, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, that I urge support also, that the motion should be supported. But maybe, as I said earlier, when we come to the issue of the prayers, we may elaborate it a little bit so that the committee can collate all these other important roads in all parts, in all zones of our country, and do a holistic job and interface with the Ministry of Works. And happily, motions like this at this time is quite timely because we are preparing to receive Mr. President's appropriation estimates. So if there is focus and there is seriousness, and we're all committed to it, and a holistic job is done, then all of these can come as inputs in next year's appropriation. I support this motion, and I so do.
The distinguished Senator Ome.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ume. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District from the Southeast Geopolitical Zone of Nigeria. Mr. President, I rise to speak on this very, very important motion for the fact that I'm very well versed about this road. I know this road very well. I've used it severally going to Calabar. This Calabar-Itu road, or Udukpani road. Udukpani is where we stop to buy banana and fish. That road has been a major carriageway connecting this part of the South-South to the Southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria. Calabar has the export processing zone, and quite a number of businesses are in Calabar processing one thing or the other. Unisem, which is Dangote cement before. Lafarge, yes. All the cement they produce there pass through Udukpani to move. So it's a carriageway that has high traffic of trailers, heavy-duty trucks, moving goods from the Calabar export processing zone to the southeast and to other parts of Nigeria. Dangote is in Calabar processing flour. There is a flour mill there, Crown Flour Mills. And factories like this generate high volume of heavy-duty vehicles. So this road is a very critical road. I'm sad that for the years I have passed through this road, long ago, that the road is still in this sorry state. Roads that support economic movement, activities in Nigeria should be given special attention. In terms of this motion paper, that contracts have been awarded for this road and the execution has been poor. I think it is very important that we emphasize on the need, as prayed, that the contractor should go and immediately complete this project. And if there's anything delaying the completion of the project, government should release money. This Calabar to Itu, to southeast, is not only Itu, it doesn't stop at Itu, correct me. It goes all the way, and the vehicles come from Lagos even, going through this road to Calabar, to carry processed goods, flours, from the flour mills, from Lafarge cement factory. And sometimes, because of the bad portions on this road, trailers break down with the goods they are carrying, leading to traffic jam. Mr. President, not just because of now that I'm in Abuja, I used to ply this road regularly to Calabar. So for the fact that the road is not serving South-South, as my brothers try to show, our people use this road more than the people in the South-South. Southeast people use this road more than the people from the South-South. They are disturbing me. Our people use this road so much. So we are interested. And that's why I'm joining my voice to demand that this road should be immediately completed. And I want to add that when such important facilities are brought through a motion here, we shall be very wary of dressing it with other needs of roads across Nigeria in the prayer, like my brother is trying to suggest. When we lump a lot of such demands in a motion, it tends to kill the purpose of the motion. This road is a very critical road. Motions can be brought for East-West Road. We have done one before on East-West Road. We emphasize it again on its own terms, so that this Calabar into Aba Road into the southeast should be immediately tackled so that vehicles can move smoothly to Calabar Export Processing Zone, to all the places we have things to ferry out from this important area. Tank farms are there too. I know that my brother does the oil, has a tank farm in Calabar there. All the traders that go there to carry products go through this Odupani, into Calabar, into Aba, into the southeast and to Lagos and other parts of Nigeria. So that's why I'm saying that we shall deal with this motion and give it all the seriousness it deserves, so that we don't whittle down the importance. Thank you, Mr. President. So support.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, we have a lot of items on the other paper, but I was expecting the minority leader to even narrate his plight on this road. The last time we had a small function in Calabar, he attempted to take the road, and it took him over 7-8 hours, a distance of 45 minutes. And he missed his flight. He ended up being stranded in Uyo because he was struggling to move from Calabar to the place. And the road is also very important to the built industry in Nigeria, because at Akampa, that's where you get the gravel, that's where you get the granites and all that. So a lot of trailers move from there through Akwa Ibom to Aba, through Akwa Ibom to Port Harcourt and Bayelsa and all that. So it will continuously break down due to the heavy traffic and all that. But it's really, really bad. I'm surprised to hear that even from 2007, this issue had always plagued the House of Representatives when my brother Tambowa was the speaker. Well, now it has reached a point where nobody is passing through the road at all. People are using water and people are dying on the waterways. So it's also actually my road, because it passes through my place. I didn't want to look personal, that's why I'm not making any comment. But I want to join you to appeal to the Ministry of Works to see what they can do. I had a discussion with the minister. He said they gave the road to 3 companies. One is Samatec, one is JB, and the other one is CCECC. I don't know what issues they are having, and I think either JB abandoned the road, backed out of the road out of anger, and so for the past how many years, the road has remained the way it is now, a dead trap. Commuters are on that road for at least 9 days. Many vehicles, goods and services are on that road. Tomatoes spoil on the road, everything. So it's something that we have to help Nigeria. It's a road that is very commercially viable. Aba cannot walk. Port Harcourt cannot receive goods. Even the Bayelsa and other parts of Nigeria from there to Lagos. But we do hope that this resolution of the Senate today will help. Thank you for bringing it to the floor, Senator Osokwo. So we go to the prayers. Prayer 1, mandate the Senate Committee on Works to investigate the reasons behind the non-completion of repairs on the Urupani to Federal Highway, including assessing the utilization of funds allocated for the project over subsequent budget cycles. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, direct the Committee on Works to summon the relevant agencies, including the Federal Ministry of Works, Federal Road Safety, Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, and contractors involved in the project to provide detailed reports on the status of the highway and revert to this August Assembly within the next 2 weeks. Those in support of prayer 2 as amended say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the federal government of Nigeria to prioritize the immediate completion of this.
This is the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, transmitting to you live from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm Lami Ali. Well, earlier during the plenary proceedings, there was a motion from Senator Yahya Abdullahi on the need for efforts to intensify the efforts by both the military and other arms of the federal government to ensure that the new terrorist group, that's Lakurawa, in the north-west of Nigeria, does not further infiltrate and cause more harm to residents there. Now, I have here with me the sponsor of the motion, Senator Yahya Abdullahi. Sir, we want you to tell us the impact of this group so far on the communities and the kind of immediate assistance they would need from all concerned.
Well, the Lakurawa terrorist organization or terrorist group has its origin in Mali and Burkina Faso, and they have been infiltrating the northern territories of this country through Nigerian Republic, particularly about 5 years ago. You know, they have been trying to preach. This is an externally, it's not like Boko Haram. Boko Haram is a homegrown, religiously based terrorist organization. This one is a foreign-based, West African jihadist organization, which has been driven out of Mali and through also fighting Abuja and some parts of Niger, and now it's coming into Nigeria, starting from Sokoto, exactly the northwestern part of the state. Now it's coming gradually along the border, to Kebbi, Arewa, and other local government areas. That's my constituency. So recently, they attacked a village. Well, they have been attacking, stealing communities, stealing livestock. Sometimes even the food that the localities, the people have kept to eat. They will tell them to go and sell the food and bring money to them. And, so it really got worse. And on 8th November, they engaged a community in Mera, in our local government area of Kebbi State, and killed over 20 people. So the state mobilized, and we also went on behalf of the National Assembly and got them the Ministry of the Ministry of Defense. Actually worked quickly, and the state government also worked quickly. The authorities really demonstrated a lot of responsibility, I must admit, and promptly the military was dispatched. A detachment was dispatched, and they kicked them out, freed a lot of the cattle that they stole. So all we are asking in the motion is that let us not have any letdown. Let's have station be in the state of readiness at all times. Coordinate the operations with the communities, so that they should not be allowed, to have any foothold or roots, inside among the members of the communities that are involved. So they say a stitch in time saves 9. So that's why we raised this in order to alert the federal government, that they should not allow, that kind of terrorist organization, to take roots, in those areas. They are very sensitive areas, of the country. Because if they spread across that border, nobody knows what is going to happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for sharing your opinion.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, this is where we come to the end of today's live telecast of the program from the National Assembly. We thank you for your time, and on behalf of all those that contributed to the success of this production, we urge you to stay tuned and continue watching our programs. I am Lami Ali.